Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. What I'm doing today is taking a bunch of scrap left over from where we built the deck in front of the camper. And if you go back through the channel content, you can see that process. We milled the lumber and then made these decks out of it. We had a bunch of stuff we culled out of it. After last year's drought episode and the problem we had keeping plants alive in the garden, we've decided to try some raised bed gardening, especially since if you check out Piney Woods Homestead's channel, they raise an ungodly amount of food, or a godly amount of food as the case may be, in their raised beds. So we're going to try it. I've already started kind of cutting lumber up and trying to make sure that we had enough to at least get one bed done. We're going to make these beds a little over 2 feet high, 3 feet wide, and 6 feet long. That way you can easily reach into the bed all the way to the middle. They're not too far to get around. So we're going to set you up, and I'm going to finish cutting the lumber for this and then start putting this bed together. Pieces I'm cutting now are the legs for the corners. We're going to do an L-shaped leg and then the center piece to support the middle. And I can't set up a stop and just run them up to the stop because the way I've got this mounted on this roll around cart, the stops don't come close enough to give me the 2-foot cut that I need. And the reason I'm marking each one is because this wood's pretty warped, and I want to try to make sure I'm getting as square a cut as I can, because it'll make it easier putting this thing together. The reason I'm taking this first cut is because these are rough cut off the sawmill, so the ends of the logs were just chainsaw cut, and they're random lengths. I just made sure that I had at least 8 feet in the overall length. So now I'm squaring it off to make the rest of the cuts. I'm going to go ahead and start the screws in these boards I'm going to use for the corner pieces for the legs. And what I'm doing is coming in about 2 inches from the end. I'll offset about an inch inside, because these are, if I remember my 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. They're 1 3/4 inches. So I'll offset about an inch to the inside, but the reason I'm coming in from the end is so it doesn't split. And I'm gonna set up one to use as a pattern, and I'll just put the others next to it. I only need 4 that have got the screws in them. And I'm just reusing screws that I pulled out of formwork and braces and other stuff, because I don't know if y'all bought any screws lately. These dang things are expensive. And these things are a mix of, I think, 2.5 and 3 inch. Bent. Bent. Using these screws reminds me of when I was a kid and we used to build tree houses and forts and stuff with lumber that we got off of construction sites around the neighborhood. The carpenters would let us pick up the scraps and the bent nails, and we'd a bunch of us kids would get together and we would sit down with our hammers and a pile of bent nails and straighten them out and start using that scrap lumber to make ourselves a fort or something. I'm gonna put these ones that are all messed up, because there's a lot of wane in them, on the bottom and the top, because the bottom they'll be down in the dirt, and on the top they'll be covered over with a cap board. Pretty square. Now the rest of those can line up off of that one. And I'm putting so many screws in this because, one, dirt's pretty heavy, and two, if we decide to move it or something with it, I can stick the tip of the forks under it and kind of get it up off of the dirt, and we can move it. Apparently that screw was a little long. Some of these still have concrete in them. How did I manage that trick? Apparently some of the boards I grabbed out of the coal pile for building this deck were cold because they were wider than the rest of them. So I'm going to have to rip a couple of these boards down. See if that was enough. Yes, it was. Measure to make the cuts for the top cap. I'm going to miter the corners on the top cap where you'll have a seat and a place to set stuff. So I'm going to cut it to 45, measure off the inside, which is where we want the corners to meet up, and then cut the other side. And when I measured the two sides, we were a little bit off. So I'm going to split the difference. One side was 72 and a half, and the other side was 72 and an eighth. So I'm going to go about 72 and a quarter and square everything up. The nice thing about this saw is instead of having an offset laser, it's got two lights that shine down beside the blade, so you get a shadow line exactly where the blade's going to cut. $77 3/4 is 38 and a half plus 3/8 is 38 7/8. 38 7/8. And then our board is 3 inches or 6 inches wide, so 3 inches is half of that. All right. What I'm trying to do is make sure I get these center supports centered. Now we need to put these top trim pieces on. I think it's close enough for garden work.
All right.
It ain't close enough for house trim work, but know how much we need to dig till we put it down. Well, there's a lot of earthworms.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We don't need to get the wood chipper back out here for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a rock right there.
We're on a rock. Huh? Oh, wait. Okay.
Close enough.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty close. Yeah.
I'm gonna continue the theme of using resources that we have and start breaking down these pallets that we got this block in to build the house on, and start using them to make a little bit different design raised bed for my wife. The next thing I need to make are some narrower raised beds that we're going to put a trellis across to put pole beans and cucumbers, that kind of stuff on, to, you know, give them a place to grow up and over. Of course, these pallets were not designed to be reused, so I'm not sure how much material I'm actually going to get out of them. And you know, pallets are put together with a box nail or a nail that's got adhesive on it, and so a lot of times trying to get them apart, especially since they've been out in the weather for a while and you've got the adhesive plus the rust, this wood will start splitting. So far, you know, this one's split down to here, so I'm only going to have that much of it to use. see, that's garbage. I'm gonna try a little different method. I need 2-foot boards if we're gonna maintain the same height we did on the one we built before. And that'll give me more than 2 feet because they seem to be splitting on the ends. I'm gonna cut these here and then just worry about getting the nails out of the middle section. That method seems to preserve more of the wood. All right, I finally got all these dang pallets disassembled. Unless building with pallets is just your passion, or you're like me and you have a bunch of them you need to get rid of, because we had a whole raft of these things from getting those block in and other pieces of material. So rather than burn them and then have to deal with the nails, I figured I'd make use of them. But unless that's one of those two things is your situation, I don't recommend trying to build with pallets, because taking those things apart is a royal pain. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting this material. Because of the length that we're cutting the material for the sides to, I'm able to use a stop, so this is gonna go pretty quick. I'm just gonna square up one end, push it against the stop, cut it to length, and set it down here so I can get to building these things. I'm gonna build this one similarly to the first one. I'm gonna do the L-shaped legs in the corner, but there's gonna be a stringer running full length on all 4 sides that I'm gonna attach these to using brad nails. I thought I had some staples, but I don't, and I'm not sure I've got enough brad nails. But all this is for is to hold the boards in place until we get the dirt in there. Once the dirt's in there, they're going to be pushed up against the side, so the brad nails are going to be fine. I'm actually more concerned about this pallet wood just rotting away pretty quick, but we'll see. I think it'll make it at least one season, and we can see if the concept is going to work. what I'm having to do is, since this is all rough lumber and it wasn't planed down to finished dimension, there's a little bit of variance in the thickness, the width. So I'm having to kind of eyeball this to get everything lined up. So that's what the side's gonna look like when it's all done. This will be all right.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we'll see. I think this pallet wood's gonna rot out pretty quick, but
If we
You
get
know.
one season out of it, maybe we can put
well,
tin from the roofs in it, you know.
if we too, if we want to try to protect it, keep it, make it last as long as we can, we can put some of that plastic in here. You know, just sheet the sides with plastic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If it'll give us a crop of beans.
Yeah. That's how you make a raised bed planter out of a bunch of scrap. Hopefully you found this useful. If nothing else, how not to do things. I think this is going to work. I've got to build another one like this because we're going to put cattle panel in it, like I said earlier, and make an arch so we can grow our pole beans over the arch. And I think it's going to work fine. This is how the raised beds with the trellis turned out. I thought we were going to get them put in place pretty soon, but we haven't gotten there yet, and now it's going to rain, so I think they came out all right considering it was a bunch of scrap and junk we had laying around. Well, folks, thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day.